Salofalava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Suisuki. Coming up,
we are in deeply unstable territory now.
Pacific leaders are making their way to Brazil for the annual UN Climate Summit. We check out some of the big stories making headlines this week, and the Blue Army descends on Sydney for the Pacific Championship Finals. But first, in yesterday's show, we spoke with former New Zealand National Party MP Anai Arthur Anai, who has gained the support of Samoa's Prime Minister in calling on the New Zealand government to grant some Pacific citizens a 3-month visa upon arrival. Anai launched a petition earlier in the year with the hopes of securing 1 million signatures. So far, over 37,000 have signed on. During the interview, Anai referenced visa-free conditions for Chinese nationals travelling via Australia, which he referred to as an insult to Pacific peoples. Since this interview was broadcast, the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment has reached out to RNZ Pacific to point out that the visa is also available to visitors from Pacific Islands Forum countries. According to the Immigration New Zealand website, the changes came in this week on Monday, the 3rd of November. Joining me to speak more about the new visa conditions is Immigration New Zealand Visa Director Jock Gilray. Talofalava, Mr. Gilray. So I understand these changes came into effect on Monday. Is that right?
The NZETA changes came into effect on Monday, yes.
Awesome. And what does it enable Pacific people to do in terms of entering New Zealand?
This change enables people from Pacific Island Forum countries to apply for an NZETA and then travel to New Zealand via Australia, and they can stay for up to 3 months.
Can you specify which Pacific countries qualify for this?
It's countries from the Pacific Islands Forum. That's quite a long list, which I don't have in front of me. I think there are about 14 countries.
Okay, is this a permanent arrangement?
This is a trial, and the trial will go for 12 months. And we're going to assess and evaluate the data as the trial is underway.
When will you be assessing the trial? How will you be reviewing it?
So we'll be reviewing along the way across those 12 months, and decisions will be made close to the end of the 12 months about whether any changes need to be made or whether we'll be continuing with the trial.
What indicators would mean a successful trial?
I guess we'll be looking at factors like the numbers of people who take up this opportunity and what the outcomes are from people who come to New Zealand.
Are you able to give a date on whether this arrangement will continue on? Or
No, I don't have that information at the moment, I'm afraid.
Is there a reason why?
I think it's too early to say.
Okay. I just want to know, are you able to comment on Anai Arthur Anai's petition for a 3-month visa on arrival?
Well, I'm here to talk about the performance of the immigration system, and I imagine that any petition that's submitted to the government will be considered by them in due course. But I can talk about the visitor visa changes that we've made over the last year.
Okay. Are there any other types of visa waivers being considered for Pacific people?
I mean, that's a matter for the government. People from Pacific Island Forum countries can visit New Zealand from Australia with a New Zealand Electronic Travel Authority, an NZETA, and they can stay for up to 3 months if they have a valid Australian visa, and then the travel needs to be via Australia. It's a new initiative. We're going to be trialling it for 12 months. We'll be assessing and evaluating the data, and then decisions will be made about how we go forward. So this is a change that's gone live this week, but one of the other changes we made earlier this year is that visitor visas are now being granted for a 2-year multi-entry period for people from the Pacific. So that means that those people are able to enter New Zealand more than once, and they don't need to apply for a visa every time they want to come to New Zealand. And as I've said, we've been working really hard on improving processing times. And processing times for visitor visas for people from the Pacific for the last 6 months have been an average of 5 working days, which is a big improvement on some of the processing times they've experienced previously. Also in Samoa, this month marks the 1-year anniversary of the opening of our Visa Application Centre, which is a place in Apia where people can make an appointment and drop off their visa applications. And we've also been working hard on improving the performance of our customer service centre to reduce call wait times for callers from the Pacific. So we've been working hard across a number of different areas to improve the performance of the visa system and ensure that people from the Pacific have a better experience.
Pacific leaders are making their way to Brazil for the world's biggest climate meeting. It comes at a time when scientists say the world will almost certainly pass the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold, at least for a period. It's the limit considered the tipping point for dangerous global warming. Caleb Fotheringham has more.
UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, at the opening of the COP31 Climate Summit in Belém, Brazil, made the same call that Pacific nations have for years: keep global heating limited to 1.5 to stay alive.
Let us be clear, the 1.5 degrees limit is a red line for humanity. It must be kept within reach. And scientists also tell us that this is still possible.
The World Meteorological Organization confirmed that greenhouse gas emissions, which are heating the planet, have risen to a record high, with 2025 being on track to be the second or third warmest year on record. The State of the Climate update by the organisation says the 1.5 degree target will certainly be overshot, at least temporarily, but can be brought back down by the end of the century.
No one can bargain with physics, but we can choose to lead or be led to ruin. Choose to make Belém the turning point, stand with science, stand for justice, stand for future generations.
Climate justice campaigner at the Pacific Network on Globalization, India Logan Riley, says it's disturbing news.
We are in deeply unstable territory now when it comes to weather stability, and with that livelihoods and well-being and the very existence of some of our communities and cultures in the Pacific.
Meanwhile, the United Nations Emissions Gap Report shows the world is on track for 2.3 to 2.5 degrees Celsius global warming, well above the 1.5 goal, if it sticks to its nationally determined contributions. However, it is an improvement from last year's report, which predicted 2.6 to 2.8 degrees. Sindra Sharma with Pacific Islands Climate Action Network says the report lays bare the painful truth that global ambition is nowhere near where it needs to be.
That still is quite unacceptable for vulnerable communities and small island states in particular, because we'll feel the effects the fastest of crossing anywhere beyond 1.5. Even 1.5.1 is going to have significant implications.
However, she says there's still hope to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees.
We've always had all the solutions to be able to do so, and it's just a lack of political will. It's a choice. It's a choice that's being made consistently, and that choice is going to affect every single one on this earth and every single species on this earth.
Ms. Sharma says despite geopolitical tensions, she's hopeful there will be positive outcomes at this year's COP, partially driven by being in Brazil, by the Amazon rainforest, which is often referred to as the lungs of the earth, and also because for the first time they have confirmation from the world's top court that failing to protect people from the effects of climate change could violate international law.
The advisory opinion that we have now is the first time that we're going into COP with this kind of legal clarity. And the legal clarity is telling us that there's a due diligence in terms of limiting warming to 1.5.
But Ms. Sharma says it won't be the advisory opinion that drives ambition from countries dragging their feet, but from people who are having their lives changed from climate change, both in developed and developing nations.
To have a look at what's been in the news this week, I'm joined by RNZ Pacific's Morning Bulletin editor, Christina Persico. Kia ora, Christina.
Kia ora, Susana.
We're starting today with health updates in the region. What's the latest there?
So, Tuvalu's health department says 848 people with symptoms have been undergoing rapid dengue testing using RDT kits. Of these, 238 people were reported as RDT positive. The health department's latest report for the week ending November 2nd says the slope had started to descend from the previous week. Over in Fiji, the World Health Organization says they've officially eliminated measles, rubella and trachoma, which is an eye disease. But the Minister of Health, Dr. Ratu Atonio Lalambaravu, says they still need to work hard to keep measles out. He told Parliament there may be more cases in the future, and it was important to keep vaccination rates high.
And how is Aotearoa coping with the measles outbreak so far?
So, some good news. We'd had 4 days with no new cases. However, some contacts of previous cases were symptomatic, and Health NZ says cases would likely grow. The outbreak can only be declared over when there are no new cases for 42 consecutive days.
And another story that's health related, there's a report looking at vaping among Pacific and Māori youth. What are the findings?
This study is out of the universities of Otago, Auckland and Sydney and the Daffodil Centre in Australia. A senior author of the research, Associate Professor Andrew Wah, said their results do not support claims that vaping reduces harms for Māori and Pacific youth, but instead shows that vaping has substantially added to them. The researchers compared smoking trends from 2003 to 2009, which is before vaping became common in Aotearoa, with those from 2010 to 2024, when vaping became increasingly common. They found rates of regular smoking among 14 to 15-year-olds declined significantly for Māori, Pacific, European and Asian adolescents between 2003 and 2024, but these declines in smoking slowed for Māori, Pacific and European youth after vaping emerged in 2010. The Associate Professor Andrew Wah says the findings are especially concerning for Māori and Pacific youth who already have much higher rates of smoking and vaping than their peers.
All right, moving now to New Caledonia. We talked earlier in the week about the French Overseas Minister postponing her visit, but it seems now she's on her way.
Yeah, Naima Mucha was meant to visit the French territory last week, but she postponed due to budget talks in Paris. Now her schedule shows she's leaving Paris on Saturday. She's expected to be in New Caledonia from Monday to Friday. She's set to be meeting with various people involved in finding a way forward for New Caledonia's political future, as it currently remains, of course, a territory of France.
So very much a matter of watching the space. What else is happening in the wider world news this week?
We've had Typhoon Kalmagi make landfall in central Vietnam as of Friday morning, New Zealand time. It had already whipped through the Philippines earlier, killing more than 140 people and also leaving multiple missing. The disaster database EMDAT has this typhoon recorded as the globe's deadliest of 2025. In the US, there was a cargo plane crash in Louisville, Kentucky. At least 12 dead as of Wednesday evening local time. Investigators say one of the engines caught fire and detached during takeoff. We've also had months of quite awful reports out of Sudan of violence and famine. The paramilitary Rapid Support Forces have been in a brutal civil war with the army for more than 2 years. Aid groups are estimating more than 150,000 people have died. But now the RSF says they've agreed to a humanitarian ceasefire with the army, so hopefully things start to improve there.
And just to wrap up, Christina, I know you're a league fan. We have Toa Samoa playing the Kiwis on Sunday in the Pacific Championships final. Which way are you leaning?
I hope Samoa plays well, I really do, but I have to be honest, my heart will always support the Kiwis.
Oh well, I'm a hearty 685er, so for me it's up the toa. Malo, Christina. That's Christina Persico, our morning bulletin editor with our Pacific News Wrap. Another exciting weekend of sports is in store for Pacific sports fans across the globe. Senior sports journalist Iliesa Tora joins us for a talanoa on the exciting matches for our Pacific Rugby Union and Rugby League teams. Hey, Bola Iliesa, Manu Samoa have had a tough season this year, especially in their attempt to secure a spot at the 2027 Rugby World Cup. Do they still have a chance to qualify, and what do they have to do?
Yes, certainly Manu Samoa has had a tough season going through the Pacific Nations Cup, where they had a chance to qualify for the 2027 Rugby World Cup. Unfortunately, they were not able to do that, so they were pushed into the second qualifier against Chile, where they also lost in the end, with Chile beating them in the second game. But they still have a chance to qualify, and that will start this weekend in Dubai. On Sunday morning, our time 2 a.m., our time here in New Zealand, Manu Samoa will line up against Brazil. And they have 2 other games after that. So Brazil on Sunday, and they have Namibia next week, and then they have Belgium in their last game, which is at the last qualifying tournament for the Rugby World Cup. So if Samoa manages to beat Brazil, Namibia and Belgium, they get in, or even if they win 2 games and the results go either way for the other teams, they will still get in. But the bottom line is they need to win the tournament. They need to be the top team at the tournament to get a place in Australia in 2027.
Best of luck to Manu Samoa. Meanwhile, the Flying Fijians are returning to Twickenham to meet England on Sunday. Are the Fijians ready, and what are they saying?
The Flying Fijians definitely will have a tough challenge on their hand when they meet England at home in Twickenham on Sunday morning. Mick Byrne, the Fijian head coach, says he is confident and he has seen what the players have been able to do over the last few days. The advantage for them, or the difference for them this time, is that they've had time in the week before the game. So at least they were in London last week and they were able to have that time to build up, which was a change from previous tours where they would just get into the host city or the host venue the week of the game. So they probably have 3 or 4 days to train. But they've had more than a week to get together, acclimatize, train together. And he is confident that the Flying Fijians can do the job on Sunday morning.
Just looking over to Rugby League Elite.
In the Rugby League competition, Cook Islands is the only one that hasn't qualified. So the others have been Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, and Papua New Guinea. So Cook Islands will be meeting South Africa in Sydney. This will be the first game on Sunday afternoon before the Pacific Cup finals get underway. Yeah.
And before I let you go, Ili, we can't leave this talanoa without talking about the big game, which is Tō Samoa taking on the Kiwis of New Zealand in the final of the Pacific Championships. Who do you think will win, and what are the bookmakers saying?
Oh, that's going to be a tough one, but Tō Samoa has a chance to create history, write their own history on Sunday evening when they meet the Kiwis in the final of the Pacific Cup. They have named a powerful team, welcoming back star forward Jaden Sua, and with the star lineup that they have, they should be able to give the Kiwis a strong run. They had played each other 3 weekends ago, and unfortunately, Tō Samoa lost to the Kiwis by a very close margin. They had missed 3 scoring opportunities towards the end of the game, and the Kiwis know that Tō Samoa will come hard at them. Samoa has a strong chance to get that win, and definitely that is something that they know, and the fans are pushing them, betting them to go hard, and a sold-out crowd at the Comsbank Stadium in Sydney is going to witness that, and my tip is Samoa getting it in the end, but definitely an exciting game to watch.
That's Pacific Waves for today. Next week, we head to Fiji, where women's groups are accusing the Prime Minister of gender bias. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tō whā soifua.